Hey there, Heather. Hello there. It's Jeff Cutter down. Welcome you to yet another Stone Cold Hockey video to do with the 91-92 season. And we are the Chicago Blackhawks trying our hand in trying to make things happen. And we are in second place in our division. Detroit is crushing it up by 19. We have 31 games to fix the problem. Toronto, Minnesota, and St. Louis are fighting for those two final spots. Remember, it's the top four per division. Vancouver, Calgary, Winnipeg going toe-to-toe. Edmonton taking fourth from LA right now. San Jose in trouble. Montreal crushing the Adams division. Boston and Hartford are going 2-3. Buffalo's trying to catch Quebec for fourth. Well, keep fourth away. Rangers, Washington looking good in the Patrick. Pittsburgh third. New Jersey fourth. And the Islanders are closing in on New Jersey. Vincent Delpous 36 goals away from Toronto. Nice. Brad Hall 36. Roenick 9th for 26 goals. Vincent Delpous even leads in points with Brian Leach and Phil Housley next to it. Meg Richter, Patrick Roy, John Van Beesbrook leading goals against Belfort 10th. Giving me a what luck. Ratings wise, we've played 49 games. Minnesota's only played 44. Why? Hartford's played 44. I don't get it. Yeah, we're below 500. I can't believe it. Minnesota would be third, Toronto fourth. Hartford and Buffalo. Highlights wise, we have 37 hat tricks. Greg Adams a hat trick at a 5-5 day. Coffee. 10 games with 30 or more points by the fan vote. Islanders San Jose number 1 November 9th when San Jose was up 4-0 and fucked it up. Getting a 8 goals in that then. Edmonton Vancouver December the 10th. Vancouver up 5-2, but Edmonton won it. Quebec Washington for December 17th. It was down to the wire Washington won. I think LA St. Louis just by the All-Star break. It was tight, but the Kings won Donnelly in overtime. And Hartford Montreal, October 14th. Hartford up 4. Anyway, we're going to Minnesota. And we have ourselves Eddie the Eagle against John Casey going toe-to-toe. The North Stars, the team that ruined the Blackhawks in the 91 playoffs by beating them in the first round. Well, the North Stars would beat St. Louis at Edmonton to deal with Pittsburgh in the Stanley Cup Finals. They're up 2-1. We have Ed Belfour as our goalie. Well, they have Darcy Wakaluk. Dominic Hasek, the backup, who a lot of people were shocked he went to Chicago. But he did. Chicago, then Buffalo, doing his job. And then Jimmy Waite coming in when Belfour had some contract problems. And Ray LeBlanc, the U.S. Olympic goalie. JR, the American player. Steve Larmer, who had 880 career games until the contract dispute. Michel Goulet, Quebec and Brian Noonan, Noodles Noonan, 94 Rangers. Brett Sutter doing his job, coming over from the Islanders. Dirk Graham, the black captain in Stanley Cup Finals history. Mike Hudson, 94 Rangers. Chris Chelios, second year coming in Chicago for defense from Montreal in the Nations of Our Trade. Steve Smith, who we picked up from Edmonton for Dave Manson, and of course Edmonton ran him out of town despite him winning 3 Stanley Cups because of that whole mistake in 1986. Greg Gilbert, 94 Rangers. Jocelyn Lemieux, Keith Brown, Mike Peluso, Rob Brown on our team now. Brian Marchment. Yeah, we got Rob Brown for Steve Conroy, but yeah, Rob Brown's not with us. Great player for Pittsburgh. Brian Marchment. Oh, tough guy. Stephen Matone, 94 Rangers. Mike Stapleton. Frank Casera, Dan Vizlet, Igor Kravchuk, John Talley for the Others, and Tony Horchuk. For the North Stars of Dolan and right wing, Mike Modano, the number 1 pick in '88, could have been the Leafs if they had lost that final game. Dave Gagne, known as Winner. Brian Bellows, Kitchener. That's right, former Kitchener Ranger. Mike Craig, for each Leaf. Todd Ellick. Brian Propp, Western Hockey League All-Star. Bobby Smith, North Star to Tab to North Star. Neil Broden from the American Ice team. And a Minnesotan, Gaetan Duchesne, The Shadow. Darian Hatcher, Mark Burrow, Basil McRae. Stu Gavin, Mark Tenority, great defenseman. Jim Johnson, he who shall not be named, of course, for not only his vehicular manslaughter of one Keith Magnuson, but for being a crappy captain in the 80s. Shane Sherla, Craig Ludwig, the one shin pad guy. Derek Smith, Steve Maltese, Chris Douglas, and David Shaw. Kitchener! There we go. 1 minute. One minute later. That's dope. 4 minutes later. You tripped Gagne. Tonight, just for skiers. Puck in the River Hudson. His 12th from Graham makes it 1-1. Powerplay skier. Power play go. He does it again. Huddy, his 13th. Sutter kid into the night. From Sutter and Smith. Sutter. 1 minute later. That's the ball. Try for 2. 1 minute later. Griffin. And another penalty. It's Steve Smith. Damn it. Hit. No way. How did we fuck this up? We did. Right between Peluso and Bobby Smith. Takes it against a tough guy. Bobby Smith hangs on. Well, we hurt them because they don't have Bobby Smith. That's reduced, and that's our guy, Steve Smith. Purple Jets, though. That one scores. Final. Penalty on Mikey Craig. Let's go. Papa Powerplay go. Vin Salette. Oh, that Fergus Heat. But he scores from JR and Warmer. 3-3. 4 minutes later. Let's later. We almost scored. It's 3-3 after 14 minutes. 4 minutes. 4 minutes later. And we scored. Rainbow belongs to time penalty on Minnesota's Craig. Can we take a chance? Yeah. Who shot JR? JR shot the puck. His 27th, matching his jersey number from Sutter and Chelios. 5-4. 2 minutes later. Have a chance? No. 3 minutes later. Another fight. Greg Gilbert and Mike Craig. Who does it benefit? Us. I think. lose 5-4. We go to Calgary and beat them 4-3. Belfort beats Vernon. Calgary goes by Robert Suter and Carey. Paluzzo, JR, Marchment, and Dirk Graham. So that means our next game must be done. We go to Edmonton. That's the way we should have been, like going to Alberta both times. And it will be Eddie the Eagle against Norm Foster. So Edmonton's going with Norm Foster. Foster's AL. Bill Ranford, the main starter. Peter Ing, the number 3 goalie, picked up from the Leafs in that 7-player deal in September 1991. Well, basically Ing for pure. And then Ron Tugnutt was brought in by Edmonton only because of the playoff push. Chicago. Well, and Edmonton. Well, here's Edmonton. Fitting Dampouz, part of that 7-player deal. Leafs and Oilers. Leafs send him to Edmonton. He's been on menace. Joe Murphy, number 1 draft pick from Detroit, traded to Edmonton in the Jimmy Carson deal. He looked pretty good. Unfortunately, though, substance abuse ruined his life. Craig Simpson, number 2 pick in 85. Scott Mellanby, the Rat Boy, 3 years later. Peter Klema, number 85, the only key number 85. Well, Matthew Perot, but still. Rusty Olish. Bernie Nichols, picked up by the Oilers from the Rangers in this Mark Messier trade, 1 of 3 pieces. Kelly Buchberger, Anatoly Semenov, Dave Manson, the guy that Chicago dumped off first, Steve Smith. Steve Smith's coming to Edmonton and wants to stick it to Edmonton. Matt T. as a Tikkanen, a pest, known as a defensive pest. But hey, he had a hat trick against Calgary that sink him in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Baranek, Martin Gilina, part of the kid line, Norm McIver, Mark Lamb, David Malley, Luke Richardson, also a turned up Leaf to Oiler. Jeff Smith, Craig Hogwood, Kevin Lowe, starting to get on age. Brian Glenn, Craig Muni, Louis DeBrusque, the guy who was traded to Edmonton. Boogaboom and Millette are now in New York. I think there was some kind of boot, but Boogaboom out. 3 minutes into the game. So we scored! Vincelette, second of the night. The incel, Vincel Diesel, scoring for Hudson Veronic. 4 minutes later. They are. But we killed the zone. Ha ha. You flipped. 3 minutes later. Our stamina is coming up, boys. We couldn't do it. 2 minutes later. Brittany Nichols. 1-20. Outberger gets hit. 6 minutes later, Edmonton takes a penalty. It's Davey Manson. We score against our own guys. We almost fucked that up. And Chelios couldn't. 3 minutes later. Sutter gets hit. Sutter had it. 1-1 through 40. 3 minutes later. Ouch, Kabibble. 3 minutes later. Bernie scores from Gotta take advantage. No, we don't. 2 minutes later. Skeeters! Who shot JR? JR shot the puck. His 29th from Marchment makes it 2-2. And Skeeters! It's a marshmallow world. Marshmallow, whatever you want to call it. From Southern Brown, 3-2. And do not chance, no. We're good. We're good. We survived 3-2. Belfort beats Foster. Fizzlet scoring with Ronick and Marchman. Brian Marchman of all fucking people. Wait, yeah, Caesar didn't get a point, but we still won the game. That's kind of a win-win. Now we go to Vancouver, part of the end of this Western Canada trip. Third game in our thing, and it will be Ed Belfort. It'll be Kirk McLean, the last truly stand-up goalie, as in he stood up a lot. Troy Gamble, the backup. Vancouver has Pavel Bure, the Russian Rocket. First time we've seen first time on TV you've seen Russian Rocket. This was his inaugural year, and he won the Calder. Trevor Linden, the impressive captain, number 16, in Hearts. Greg Adams, who was a good player for the Canucks. 2 years later, he sent the Leafs in overtime. Cliff Ronning, the big guy who was like 5'8", he was a shrimp, but he scored goals. Jeff Courtnall, pretty good player in his own right. Igor Larionov, people forget that Larionov, for all his job with the Sharks and the Red Wings, I think the Panthers, can't remember if he did, but anyway, he was a Vancouver Canuck when he came into the league. Sergio Mamesso, big guy. Jim Sandlak, Kitchener. That's right, Jim Sandlak was a Kitchener Ranger. Peter Nevitt, number 93, he would have a few problems a few years later trying to play for Canada in the Olympics. Tom Fergus, Jyrki Lume, Gary Falk, future Leaf. Doug Glitster, future Ranger for John Van Beesbrook's rights. Gerald Diddick, Ryan Walter, the born again Christian. Dave Babich, the decent defenseman. Gino Ojic, the troublemaker. Dana Merson, Robert Dirk, Robert Cron, number 58 in programs. Adrian Posick, Dr. Randy Gregg, Andrew McBain, and Rob Murphy. And score, Kitchener! I know, I can't really say Kitchener. Chance for us to tie? No. 3 minutes later. Rescuers! The alarmer. Ooh! His 19th from Graham. Much later. Discussion? It's Mercent. Can we take a minute? We can! Pop power play goal. JR's 30th from the Lyman Brown. Makes it 2-1. To end the period, Paul tried to score. He tried to score, but he couldn't score. 2 minutes later. They have a chance. No. 5 minutes later. Agitated? We get agitated. It's Peluso. And Cardinal scores from Baltimore. Much later. Chance to score. Belford's getting up all these rebounds. We can't have that happen. Question? There's a fight. Peluso and Ojic. Fans are whipped to a frenzy, obviously. And another fight. Ronick and Lume. JR, that's brutal because we need him. Jocelyn almost scores. 2-2 to go overtime. Hopefully we win. Okay? We got 2 backup. Ouch. Overtime heroics. JR, his second of the night from Larmer and Noonan makes it 3-2. The Blackhawks win. Par la cashing. We did it. Can't believe we did it. And we are done the month of January. We head to Los Angeles. We would not have played Los Angeles if it wasn't for the win. Anyway, we are second, 17 back in Detroit. They just keep winning. 13 out of Minnesota. Toronto's now into 4th place. St. Louis in 5th. So yeah, Minnesota and Toronto fighting. Vancouver, Winnipeg, Calgary, that big battle of the spike. Even though we did take Vancouver out. Edmonton ahead of LA by 3 points, with San Jose not doing so well. In the Adams, Montreal looking good. Boston second, Hartford third, Buffalo fourth, narrowly over Quebec. Rangers and Washington look good. So does Pittsburgh. Devils and Oilers are fighting for 4th place. Brett Hall now has the goal scoring lead. JR is tied for 6th with Luke Robitaille. And Belfort jumped to 7th on goals against at 301. Craig Billington does not deserve to be top 10, especially with Mike Ford and Don Boper 20-game winners. Should be up there in size. But whatever. So that ends another video. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.